everyone, welcome to our channel Knowledge Hub. Friends, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. Today we're gonna start with the cyber security class and this is your class of third. हमने already class second कर लिया है, तो first of all अगर आपने हमारे channel नहीं देखा है, दो क्लास में हमने यूनिट 1 को भी कंप्लीट कर दिया है. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इट्स अ ह्यूज रिक्वेस्ट कि अगर आप हमारे चैनल फर्स्ट टाइम देख रहे हो या अभी तक आपने हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, इट्स अ ह्यूज रिक्वेस्ट कि आप हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो सो दैट ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों के पास वीडियो पहुँचे और आप भी उसका यूटिलाइजेशन कर सको. यूनिट 1 एज आई टोल्ड यू हमने कंप्लीट कर लिया है. अब यूनिट 2 आज की क्लास में स्टार्ट करेंगे. दैट इज़ यूनिट 2, दैट इज सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट्स टू ई कॉमर्स. First of all, go through with the subscribe button and like, share and subscribe our channel, and so that you can go through with the playlist and you will be getting those playlists and where we had talked about many of the topics and many of the subjects as of now. Security threats of the e-commerce. The first heading for today is for the second unit, that is application security. First of all, application security क्या होती है? Application security encompasses measured take throughout the cook's life cycle to prevent the gaps in the security policy and as well as of an application or the underlying systems that vulnerabilities throughout flows of the design, development, deployment, upgrade or maintenance of the application. With regard of that, here in the terms of the application, that application only control the kind of the resource granted to them and not which resource are granted to them. They in turn determine the use of these resources by the users of application through application security. Now we'll discuss about the countermeasures for application security. The countermeasures for application security is that actions taken to ensure the application security are sometimes called countermeasures. The most basic software countermeasures is an application firewall that limits the executions of the files or the handling of the data by specific installed programs. The most common hardware countermeasures is a router that can be prevent the IP address of the individual computer from being directly visible on the internet. Other the countermeasure include that like a conventional firewalls, encryption and decryptions program, and antivirus program, spyware detections, removal of program, and biometric authentication system as well. In terms of application program, if I'm talking about here, that application security can be enhanced by rigorously defining the enterprise's assets, identifying what each application does or will do with respect to these assets, creating a security profile for each application, and identifying and prioritize potential threats and documenting the adverse effect and the actions taken in each cases. This process is known as the threat modeling as well. Now we will discuss some of the major challenges of application security that we have to face. The major challenges of the application security: the few operating systems but many applications are there. That is, a few operating systems होते हैं but applications ज़्यादा होती है, like because operating systems are hardened, most attacks targets application installed on the servers. And the second is that many applications run with administrative or the super user, that is root privileged, that is the buffer overflow attack. Now in terms of that, the second we have is that most widespread vulnerabilities in application program, that buffer are RAM areas where data is stored temporarily. The next is your if an attacker that attacker sends more data than the programmer had allocated to a buffer might overflow, overwriting adjacent sections of RAM here. With regard of that, if I'm talking about, now we'll discuss about the database security as well. Here these were the database security is has been given here, as you can see. In terms of data security, if I'm talking about, so here with regard of the database data security, in terms of the security that concerns database security, the use of the broad range of the information's security controls to protect the database against the comprehensions of and confidentiality, integrity and as well as availability. It involves the various types of categories of control such as technical, procedural and administrative and the physical as well. In regard of the database security, if I'm talking about that, the security risk to the database system includes like for example like unauthorized or the unintended activity or misuse of the authorized authorized database users, database administrators, and the network and the system managers, and unauthorized users or the hackers. That malware infections causing incidents such as unauthorized unauthorized accounts, a leakage of the disclosure of the persons or properties data, deletions or damage to the data of the program, interruptions of the denial of the authority access to the database, and the attacks on other system, and anticipating failures of the database services as well. Let's go ahead with another one, that is overload performances here. Overload performances constraints and capacity issued, resulting in the inability of the authorized users and to the user database or intended as. So as of the overlays performs constraints in the capacity issued, resulting in the inabilities of the authorized users to use the database as intended, and that physical damage to the database servers that caused by the computers room fires, floods, overheating, lighting, accidental liquid spills, static discharge, electronic breakdowns, equipment failures, and obsolescences. That was the thing that has been the security risk to the database system include here. With regard of that only, that the design flaws and the programming bugs in the database and the associated programs and the system that creating the various security vulnerabilities, that is loss, corruptions, performance degradation, etc. In terms of that, the data corruptions and or loss of the caused by the entry of the invalid data commands, mistakes in a database or system administrator that process the sabotage, criminals, damage, etc. here. In regard of that, we'll discuss the security measures for the database security here. Here, most of the common type of the security measure for the database, the first is your access control. The access control here, that access control is in selective restrictions of access to place or the other resource. The second is auditing here. In auditing, the database auditing involves observing a database so as to be aware of the action of database user and the database administrative and the construction constant often set up the auditing and the security purpose as well. In regard of the third that we have is authentication. Authentication, it involves the confirming the identity of a person who is accessing the data by validation his or her identity documents. The fourth will have encryption here, and the encryption is the process of encoding the messages or the information in such a way that only the authorized parties can be read it. And in an encryption scheme, the message or the information referred to as plain text is encrypted using an encryption algorithm, and that generating the ciphertext, and that can only be read if decrypted. The fifth one we have is your integrity control. In integrity control, that data integrity refer to maintaining and assuming the accuracy and the consistency of data over its entire life cycle. That data integrity aims to prevent unintentionally changes to informations as well. Let's go ahead with the sixth one, that is backups here. And a backup or a process of backing up refer to a copying and archiving of computer's data, so it may be used to restore the original after a data loss event. And that backups have two distinct purposes. The first is to recover the data after its loss, and the second is to recover the data from an earlier time according to the user defined data retention policy as well. The next is we have is application security here. In application security, the application security encompasses the measures taken throughout the code's life cycle to prevent the gap in the security policies of an application or the underlying system vulnerabilities through flaws in the design, development, and deployment, upgrade, or maintenance of the application as well. In the eighth one, that is your the statistical method here. In the statistical method, that the greatest threat to the database security is non-tracked unauthorized changes by the internal and the external users. And even though the algorithm based on the cryptography and the other statistical methods are deployed to both identify these events and reports threats to the administrator, such shields DB approach maps large data sets into its small digital fingerprints, and which is continuously updating with every change in the main database by the registered application, and the desired fingerprints are then matched with actual at present intervals for identifying the changes location in the main database and the date and time of the unauthorized changes, even made through privileged authority as well. Now we'll discuss ahead here and with regard of the email security, with all the threats related to the email security that we will discuss here. Here for the email security, that is that after web browsing, the email is most widely used network that is relevant application, and even the mail services after the web services are the most often attacked to host here, and the basic emails offers little security counter to public perception as well. Now we'll discuss about the threats to email here. That is the first is your loss of confidentiality. Here loss of confidentiality means that emails are sent in clear over open network, and emails stored on potentially insecure clients and mail servers as well. The second is the loss of integrity here, that no integrity protections on emails anybody be altered transit or mail server. The third one is lack of the data origin authentication. Here, is this the email really from the person named in the from field here, and the lack of the non-reproduction here, that can I really enact on that content, that is an integrity, and if so that the sender later deny having sent to it, and who is that if I had acted towards it, that what in the lack of non-reproduction. Lack of notifications of receipt here, in regard of that, has the intended receipt received by my mail and acted to it, a message locality marked as sent may not have to be delivered. So these were the things, and the next one is your what are the options. So here with regard of that secure the server to the client connection like easy things first, and that is HTTPS access to the webmail, the protection against the insecure wireless access that secure the end-to-end email delivery, and that is your the PGPs of the world and the practicals in the enterprises intra network environment as well. Now we'll discuss about the email based attack, that is your active content attack, that clean up at the server here. So with the buffer overflow attacks as well, and the fixed the no code here, with regard of that, that is your Trojan horse attack and the web bugs for tracking and manage the image of the image server as well. Now we'll discuss the another topic, that is your countermeasure for email security. What were the countermeasures of email security that has been processed and that has been used here? The first is your pretty good privacy, जिसे हम PGP बोलते हैं. Second is your multi-purpose international extension, जिसे हम MIME बोलते हैं, and the third is a message authentication code. These were the three countermeasures for the email security. For now talking for the first one, that is your pretty good privacy, that is PGP. Here that pretty good privacy provides the confidentiality by encrypting the messages to be transmitted our data files and to be stored using an encryption algorithm such as triple DES or cast 128. With regard of that here, that the email messages can be protected by using the cryptography in various ways, such as the following, like signing an email message to ensure its integrity and confirm the identity of its sender. The second, that the encryption the body of an email message to ensure its confidentiality, and the encrypting the communication between the mail server to protect the confidentiality of the both message body and the message header as well. The first two methods, that using the signing and the message body encryption, are often used together. However, encrypting the transmission between the mail server is typically used only when two organizations wants to protect email regularly sent between each other. For example, that the organization could establish a virtual private network, that is your VPN, that we are talking about virtual private network, to encrypt the communication between their mail servers over the internet. And unlike method that can only encrypt a message body, a VPN can interrupt entire message and including the email as header information such as like senders, recipient, and the subjects. In some cases, the organization may need to protect the header information. However, the VPN solutions alone cannot provide a message signing mechanism, and nor can it provide a protection for the email message along the entire route from the sender to the recipient here. Now we'll discuss about the multi-purpose internet mail extension, that is MIME here. In regard of that, I will discuss that MIME transfers non-ASCII data of at the sender side to the network virtual terminal, that is network virtual terminal, that is NVT, ACCI data and delivers it to the clients, a simple mail transfer protocol, that is SMTP here, and to be sent through the internet. With this we can say that the server SMTP at the receiver side receives the NVT ASCII data and delivers it to MIME to be back and to transfer back to the original non-ASCII data. Now we'll discuss about the third one, that is your method authentication code, MAC जिसे हम MAC बोलते हैं. With here that we can say that a message authentication code, that is MAC, is a cryptography method that uses a secret key to encrypt a message, and this method outputs a MAC value that can be decrypted by the receiver using the same secret key used by the sender. The message authentication code protects both a message date's integrity as well as its authenticity as well. Now we'll discuss that the term, that is internet security, that is in detail, and because that the internet security is very important, that has been asked many times as well. In reference to that, the first is internal security के बारे में पहले हम जानेंगे. Then we'll discuss about the types of internal security, कितने types of internal security होते हैं. In terms of internal security, if I'm talking about that, internal security is a tree branch of the computer security, specific related to the network, often involving the browser security but also the network security on a more general level as it applies to the other applications, operating systems on a whole. And for the internal security, its objective is to establish the rules and the measures to use against the attacks in the internet, and that internet represent as insecure channel for the exchange information, leading to the high risk of intrusions or fraud, such as your phishing. Basically, in the types of security, the first type we have to discuss here is your network layer security. In the network layer security, here that TCP and IP, which stands for the transmission control protocol, and in internet protocol, can be made secure, that would help the cryptographic method and protocols. These protocols include the secure socket layer, that is we can say that SSL, secure socket layer, that is succeeded by the transport layer security, that is TLS, or a web traffic pretty cloud privacy, that is PGP for email, and that is IP security for the network layer as well. That has been done in the network layer security. For the second one, that is internet protocol security, that is IPsec here. In reference to this protocol is designed to protect the communication in the secure manner using the TCP IP. It provides the security and authentications at IP layer, that transferring the data using the encryption. With regard of that, two main types of the transaction that forms the basics of IPsec, that is the authentication header, that is AH, and the ESP. These were the two EH and ESP. This has been the one that has been used here, and these were the two protocols that provide the integrity, data origin, authentication, and anti-repair services as well. These, if I'm talking about these, so these protocols can be used alone or in the combinations to provide the desired set of security services for the internet protocol, that is IP layer. And for the next one, we have a security token. With regard of the security token, some online sites offer the customer the ability to use a 6-digit, that 6-digit code, which randomly changes every 30 to 60 seconds on security token. These keys on the security token have built a mathematical computations and manipulates a number based on the current time built into a devices. Even though this means that every 30 seconds there is only a certain array of numbers that is possible, which would be correct to validate access to the online account as well. And the fourth one, that is electronic mail security, जिसे हम email बोलते हैं. That is the email messages and the composed, delivered and stored in the multiple step process, which start with the message compositions. When the user finishes the composing the message and send it, its message is transferred into the standard format, that is RFC 2822 formatted message, and afterwards the message can be transmitted. And using a network connections, that the mail client, basically that mail client refer to a mail user agent, that is your MAUA here. With that connect to the main transfer agent, that is your MTA, and that operating on a mail server, and that the mail client then provide the sender's identity to the server. And next, using the mail server commands as well, the client sends the recipient list to the mail server. The client then supplies the messages. Once the mail server receives and processes the message, the several events occur, that recipient server's identification, connection establishment, and the message transmission using the domain name subsystem, that is DNS services. The sender's mail server determines that the mail servers for the recipient, and then the servers opens upper connections to the recipient mail servers and sends a message employing a process that is similar to that of the used by the originating the client and delivering the message to the recipient as well. Let's go ahead with another one, and that will discuss about the data security here. And in terms of the data security, that has been very important, because this has been asked many times in the competition paper, that that is important. In terms of the data security, they can ask you what is the data security, explain in detail, or that they can ask you describe the various data security considerations with example. So all these type of a question that they can form it out. Let's go ahead with and discuss those things. Here the data security, if I'm talking about that, what I have told you about, and that is the physical security, network security, and the security of the computers and the files all need to be considered to ensure the security of the data and prevent unauthorized access that changes to data, and that is your die-clockwise or the destructions of data here. With regard of that disclosures or the destructions of the data, the first is your physical data security. In the physical data security, that the controlling the access to the rooms and the buildings where the data, computers or media are held, and that is logging the removal of and the access to the media or the hard copy material in the storeroom as well, and that transporting the sensitive data only under the exceptional circumstances, even for the repair purposes. I like example is that giving a failed hard drive containing the sensitive data to the computers manufacturer may cause a branch of security. And with regard of that, the second is your network security, means that in the network security means that not storing the confidential data such as those containing the persuasive informations on the servers or computers connected to an external network, that are particularly servers that host the internet services. Firewall protections and security related that upgrades and the patches to the operating system to avoid the viruses and the malicious code as well. In terms of the security of the computer systems and the files here, that for this, that locking computer system with a password and installing a firewall system that protecting the server by the power surge protection system that throughout the line interactive interable power supply, uninterrupted power supply, that is UPS system, so implementing the password protections of all the controlled access to the data files, that is like no access, read only or read and write, administrator only permissive, for the permission here, that the controlling the access to the restricted material with encryption as well. In this, that imposing the non-disclosure agreement for the managers or the user of the confidential data, not sending the personal or the confidential data via email or the other file transfer means without first encrypted them, and that destroying the data in the consistent manner when needed. And remember that the file sharing services such as Google Docs, yeah, Dropbox may also may not be that secure as well. Now we'll discuss about the various examples related to the data security consideration. Here, with regard of that, they are the very common examples which are shows like first is your public data, and I will discuss about the public data examples here. That is, the data considered as public is not legally protective at any stage of the life cycle, that is including the creation, sharing, and the deletion as well. In regard of that, the directory information, that like a student name, local address, permanent address, telephone listing, years of the university, and that is your dates of attendance, academic colleges, and the major fields of study, and enrollment status, like undergraduation or the graduate, full-time or a part-time, that participation to the officially recognized activities on the spots, and the degree, that honors and the awards received, and most recent educational agencies of the institutions attended for the students who have not restricted access to this category of the information as well. With regard of that, the second is your non-public data. Here for the non-public data, here non-public data as information that is not legally protected, but that we would like to keep that private for a variety of reasons here. And with regard of that, that is your employment and the training program data, and the most research grant data, that is excluding the confidential information, work in progress, and then occupational licensing the data, building code violation data, and then personal data, that is the excluding the confidential information, and expenses report as well. The third one is your confidential data. Here in reference to the confidential data, that is that the confidential data includes the information that to be legally protected, that is the social security numbers, motor vehicles operator license, or the state identification card number, that the personal biometric data, that is the fingerprint, voice print, retina, or the iris image, or the other unique physical representative, the financial account number, that including the created debit card with stored in the combination with a PIN or the security code, and the unique electronic identification number, like routing code is a confirmation with the required security code, that access code or the password here. These were the various examples related to the data security consideration, that public data, non-public data, and the confidential data as well. Now we'll discuss about the backup and recovery. And the backup and recovery here, and that we'll go a little bit deep here in the backup and recovery. In reference to the backup and recovery, the backing up the files decrease the risk of the partial or the complete deletions of the data here, and that saving the copying on different media generally easy if the size of the data does not cause restrictions, and even the survey data are rarely so big as to cause problem, but the register data as well as the audio and the video material may require exceptional measures, that separates working copies and the backup copies should always be created for any files related to the data, and that is backing up the files protects the data from the unfortunate incidents such as like your that is the accidental changes to the data, accidental deletions of the data or the port of it and the part of it basically. And the third, we can say that the changes in or the deletions of the data that is caused by the media or the software facts. And with regard of that, we can say the damage caused by the computer viruses, or the harm caused by the hackers, or the natural disasters, wars, fire, war, or flood, fire or flood, etc. Well, when planning a backup procedures, particular attentions should be, that should be followed as issues like the first is your frequency. This is here the backup of the data and the different versions regularly. That is what you have to focus on. The dispersal, that is the store at least one backup copy to in the another physical location. The third one is the data integrity here, that ensures the backup copies and have not been corrupted, for example by using the checksum. The fourth is the reliability and the durability of the storage, that storage media. And the fifth is you're creating a rolling backups. Here the older files should not be always and overwritten with the newer names, and for example weekly or monthly that backup can be created while retaining the older version as well. The next is you're refreshing the backup media, that here regularly replaced old media with new. And the next is your storage requirements in this, that is the follow the storage media manufacturers instructions and recommendation. And the next is your eighth one, and that is your format. Here as you can see, with regard of the format, the file formats are the materials to be backend up should be substantial, suitable for the long-term preservation as well. With regard of that, owing to the modern technical solutions and the economic reason that people other resort and storing the data on the hardest drive, that is HDD, and because of the hardest drive drivers are fairly susceptible to failure, it is advisable to copy the same data on the several HDDs or use the additional media for the backup as well. Now we'll discuss some of the things related to the archive data and archive data, and to discuss about the issues related to the archive or retrieved data. And even though we'll discuss about the key issues of that involved with the retrieving data from archive. So with regard of that, as you can see here, that these are the keys. But before knowing this, we will discuss about some of the archives data here. In the archive data, we can say that archive retain that a particular data that is only accessed infrequently, yet must be kept for a prolonged period of time. And for example, that the medical records of the adult patient generally need to be kept for at least 7 years by doctor's note. And X-ray and the MRI images may only be referenced during the office visits several times each year. And the data retrieval poses special challenges for the archive store system, which must provide the capacity and the reliability to retain the data for many years and protect the data against the unauthorized changes that are quickly location of fragments of the data from the archived on demand. And with reference to that, the key issues that is involved with the retrieved data from archive here. And with that is the first is your that is immutability. In immutability here, that immutability is an often a main attribute of the archive data system. That is, once the data is committed to an archive, it can be changed or deleted until its retention period has expired. So thus is often referred to as warm archive, and the content address storage, that is SAS here. Okay. And the second is you're extending the storage here. In the extending the storage, if I'm talking about the extending the storage, that archival storage capacity is always a common since the data is as mentioned above here. With regard of that, the generally immutable and cannot be deleted until the retention period expire. This requires carefully the capacity management to ensure that the archive does not run out of the space. And one of the major technologies used to extend the capacity is the data reduplication, and also called the intelligent compressions or the single instance storage. Data reduplications works by eliminating the redundant data from the archive and saving only one unique iterations of the file block or the byte to the archived, and replacing the subsequent interaction with a small pointer to the saved copy as well. In terms of that, the third we have is the indexed and the search here. In the index and the search, we can say that here then an archive can eventually contain the hundreds of gigabytes of more spread out across the hundreds and the millions as millions of unique files, retrieving the important data months or the year, and later would be problematic or at best. So powerful indexing and the searching capabilities are at essential elements of many archive platform, and indexing Basically, the generates metadata detailed about each file and possibly the contents of the file, and then organizes those detail into a database or the repository of the some sort of which indices that can be efficiently and searched at a later date. Even though if I'm talking about the search tools, so search tools are usually used to locate the data for the retrieval depending upon the actual search tool, and that searches can utilize the meta data and indexes, or even look inside some files such as like document as .pdf files, and to perform the deeper that is contextual searches of the file content as well. Here we'll discuss the next one, that is your security and your retentions here. That security and the retention, that data retrieval from an archive, it should always be restricted to authorized personnel, especially if the archive is not immutable, and credentials should be required to authenticate each user's and detailed activities. Logs should be captured, file access in the track and other users activities within the archive, and that archive should always be implemented with the well-defined data retentions and deletions policies in the place here. Now we'll discuss moreover with the next one in detail here. Here the storage media for storing the data here. The first is your storage media here. The data has to be stored on some data storage medium, which are of given as the magnetic tape here, and that is your storage media comes under the magnetic tape. That is magnetic tape has a long been the most common media for the bulk data storage, backups and archiving and interchange as well, and that tape has typically had an order of the magnitude better capacity price ratio when compared to the hard disk, but recently the ratios for the tape and the hard disk have become a lot closer. Next is your hard disk here. This is that the capacity and the price ratio of the hard disk has been rapidly improving for many years, and this is making it more competitive with magnetic tape as a bulk storage medium, and that the main advantages of the hard disk storage is low access time, availability, capacity, and the ease of the use. External disk can be connected via the local interfaces like SC, SI, USB, etc. The main disadvantages of the hard disk backups are that they are easily damaged, especially while being transported, and that their stability over the periods of years, and that is relative unknown as well. The third next one is your optical storage here. That is the recordable CDs, DVDs, and the Blu-ray discs are commonly used with the personal computers and generally have a low media user cost, and however the capacities and the speeds of these and the other optical disc are typically so ordered of magnitude lower than that hard disk and the tape as well. Now we're talking about the solid state storage here, and the solid state storage, also known as the flash memory, thumb drive, USB flash drives, compact flash, smart media memory stick, secure digital cards, etc. These devices are relatively expensive for their low capacity in comparison to the hard disk drives, but are very convenient of fit backing up to relative low data volumes as well. The next is remote backup services. Remote backup services, as broadband internet access becomes a memory more widespread, remote backup devices are getting in the popularly. Now backing up the via the internet to the remote location can protect against some worst case that is here with regard of this. With regard of that, if as I told you about the worst case scenarios such as like fires, floods and earthquake, and which would that threats any of the backups in the immediate vicinity and along with the everyone's else. And there are however a number of drawbacks to remote backup services. First, intentionally that the internal connections are usually slower than that of the local data storage, and the secondly, the user must trust a third party services provided to maintain the privacy and the integrity of the data here. The next is your floppy disk here, and in the floppy disk during the 1980s and the 80s, early 90s, may personals and in the floppy here as of that during the 1980s and only 1990s, many personal many personal or home computer users associated backing up mainly with copying of floppy, and however that the capacity of the floppy has failed to catch with the demands rendering and the effective ethics as well. With regard of that, we have a next one, that is your disposals of data or data disposal. In this, data should be appropriately managed across an entire data life cycle from a capture to destructions here. With regard of data, if I'm talking about like planning for the data destructions is an integral part of a high quality data management program where data is any of their forms move through the stages during their useful life and ultimately are either achieved or later used or destroyed when their utility has been exhausted. When the data are no longer needed, the destructions of the data becomes a critical and often required component of an effective data governance program. Data destruction is the process of removing the information in a way that renders it unreadable, like for paper record, or revertible, or for the digital record here. And that is for that we have, because of some methods of data destructions are more complicated, time consuming, or the resource intensive that offers, it is a common to select the method based on the underlying the sensitives as well as of the data of being destroyed or the potentials harm they could cause if they are recovered. Here was that is recovered or inadvertently disclosed, and for a very low risk information. This may mean that the simply deleting the electronic files, where that simply that deleting the electronic files or using a desk a shredder for paper document. And however these types of destruction method can be undone and by the determined and the motivated individuals, making these methods inappropriate for more sensitive data. For more sensitive data, that stronger methods of the destruction at a more granular level may need to. So, however, these distractions or methods can be undone by the determined and the motivated individual, making these methods inappropriate for more the sensitive data. For more sensitive data, the stronger method of distractions of more granular level may need be to employ to assure that the data are truly irreversible here. With regard of it here. So here or with that, this is a capture, then we have to organize, then utilize, then manage, and then of course destroy here. I will discuss about the firewall here, and the firewall is that the firewall is a system of hardware and software components designed to restrict the access between or among the network, most often between the internet and a private internet. The firewall is a part of an overall security policy that creates a perimeter defense designed to protect the information resource of an organization here. With regard of that, we can say that as many machines as it takes be the sole connections between the inside as well as the inside outside here. With regard of that, we can say here like test all traffic against consistent rule and pass traffic that meets those rules as well, and that contain the effect of the compromised system. Because we can say here that it is internet here as well, as you can see, and with regard of that here it is a firewall. Okay, this is a sort of a firewall here, and for that the networks has been given to it, and then it is transferred to many of the computers that we have. This is the process, this is the work, this is a computer that has been using firewall here. And what you have to do in reference to the firewall do's and don'ts, that what we have to discuss here as well. And in terms of the do's and don'ts, as you can see, the firewall that that do's is to provide the strong authentication here, and that firewall allow virtual private network, implement security policies at a single point, monitor the security related events like audit logs, and have a specially hardened and secured operating system. Now we'll discuss about the firewall don'ts, and that for that sake, that is the protector against the internal threats, threats here. And with regard of that, that is the disgruntled employee or the insider cooperative with the external attackers as well. The second we have is against attacks that by bypass of the firewall, and that is the dialogue from the internal host to an ISP. The third we have is the protect against the transfers of virus infected programs or the files. Yeah, these were the firewalls don'ts, that what we don't have to do it. And now in the next coming classes we will discuss about the hardware firewall as well as the software firewall, where that is also important one, and you would know about it, and that the limitations of the software firewall as well as the types of firewall, that what we'll discuss in the next coming classes, with advantages and the disadvantages of firewall as well. Because this is a long topic and I don't want make these videos as long as you can go through with that, because these were the theory subjects as well as so this time we are discussing about the theory here, and so that I don't make that so long, so that you can get bored and you're not interested with it. So first of all, it's a huge request कि आप हमारे चैनल अगर फर्स्ट टाइम देख रहे हो या अभी तक आपने हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, go through with the subscribe button so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and please like, share and subscribe our channel. In terms of the cyber security course, if I'm talking about, as I told you that unit 1 we had cover up here, and for that unit 1 that we had cover up the courses that you can go through with that. You can just go ahead, as I told you about the for unit 1, that what we had discussed is your introduction to the information system and the types of information systems, development of the information system, introduction to the information system, need for the information system, threats to the important system, information system, information assurance, cyber security and the security risk analysis. यूनिट 2 जो कि हमने स्टार्ट कर दिया है, उसमें हमने एप्लीकेशन सिक्योरिटी, डेटाबेस, ईमेल्स एंड इंटरनेट डिस्कस कर लिया है आज की क्लास में. डेटा सिक्योरिटी कंसिडरेशन, जिसमें आपका बैकअप्स, आर्चिवल, स्टोरेज एंड द डिस्पोजल्स ऑफ डेटा, वो हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. सिक्योरिटी टेक्नोलॉजीज में हमने फायरवॉल स्टार्ट कर दिया है, बट फायरवॉल कंप्लीट करेंगे, उसके बाद वीपीएन, इंट्रूजन डिटेक्शन एंड एक्सेस कंट्रोल. उसके बाद हम सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट्स डिस्कस करेंगे, जिसमें वायरसेस, बॉम्ब्स है, ट्रोजन हॉर्स है, बॉम्ब्स है, देन दैट इज योर ट्रैप डोर्स, स्पूफ्स एंड ईमेल्स, वायरसेस, मैक्रो वायरसेस, malicious software network and the denial of the services attack, security threat to e-commerce, electronic payment system, e-cash, credit, debit cards, digital signature and public key cryptology as well. And after that, unit 3 we have a developing secure information system and application development security, information security governance and the risk management, the security architecture and the design as well. Security issues in the hardware, that data storage and the downloadable devices, that is the physical security of the IT assets, access control, CCTV intrusion and the detection system, that is backup security measures as well. Then in the fourth unit, that is the last unit of the session as well, and that will be the security policies, like why policy should be developed, WWF, WWW policy, and the email securing policy, policy review process, corporate policies, sample security policies, publishing and notification the requirements of the policies, and information security standard ISO, that is IT Act, Copyright Act, patent law, IPR, cyber laws in India, IT Act 2000 provisions, and intellectual property law, copyright law, software license, semiconductor law and the patent law. That's what we have to discuss here. That will complete it down, but first of all, it's a huge request, please do go through with the subscribe button, and please like, share and subscribe our channel, so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. Thank you, hope you enjoy this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion on a comment box. Thank you.